Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. Welcome to Archetype, sponsored by Dell. I am your host, Ashley. As usual, if you're here with me, please say hi in the chat. You guys always know. I love seeing who's out there. It's usually my usual posse of peeps keeping it on the stream. So this guy went, I think, 1 week longer than we usually do, but that's all good. It's kind of nice. Just had a loot build. But Nomadic Mind, hello. Hello. So this is where we're at with our character. As a recap, A Vinci. I'm assuming it's A Vinci. Hiya, I'm newer here. Hello. Welcome to the chat and to the stream. Yeah, so if you're newer here, I always like to do a little recap for those who are newer. So we usually at the start of the month, this one went a little longer, but it's all good. At the start of the month, we like to draw out characters, so I'll do a little character design, do a drawing. The past few months have been based on D&D classes, which I'm figuring out whether we'll continue or not. Kind of just depends on if a class sounds fun or interesting to me at the in the time. But yeah, we'll do that, and I gather some reference, and then the next weeks are taking it and turning it into a sculpt. So as you can see, there's a lot of times where our drawing is maybe more simple or not as fleshed out, but then the sculpt gets way more fleshed out once we start thinking of more ideas and reference and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's always really, really helpful. I'm losing the music if you guys have... Oh, nope. Am I okay? Just want to make sure the ninja in the back can tell me if I sound okay. I heard some... Okay, cool. It's just the music being weird. I just want to make sure I was saying something if people were hearing me. But yeah, so this guy went on quite the journey through 3D and coming up with cool ways to detail and do all that stuff. So sometimes it sticks closer to concept, sometimes it doesn't. It just really depends on if I find interesting, fun ideas to continue within 3D. So now that we've got this guy, though, I also scribed in little, they're kind of hard to see, but little music notes onto his little cauldron there. Quick synth. Hi, I'm new here. Nice to meet you. Yeah, sure, you're new. But it has been a while since. Nice to see you in the chat again. You are now officially new since I haven't seen you in forever. But hello again. Always nice to see a familiar face. So yeah, I was just adding some extra little details, some last details. That'd be fun to give him like this little kind of bracelet detail. It also somewhat mimics the other side. But now I figured it would be a fun time to go into posing him. And oh, that's a leftover piece. What's that gray piece there? That's a leftover piece. We just delete that. So I went around the scene, and I'm kind of doing what I just did, where I'm deleting things I don't need and getting rid of stuff. Ben says this character looks fantastic. What's his name? Oh, I don't have a name for him yet. The backstory for this character, though, is that he is we're doing D&D characters, so he's a bard with the race of orc, and so I thought that'd be a fun combination. So the idea is we kind of went with like a Beauty and the Beast type idea, where maybe he's really strong and to the world he's very scary, and he needs to be scary for his, like orc tribe, because they're known for like, pillaging villages or whatever it is. But in reality, maybe he like finds a loot or something that in a village that they pillaged, and he starts playing it and realizes that he wants to like play the loot, so he becomes like a bard instead, but it's kind of against what maybe his tribe would want from him. So we haven't thought of a name, but that was kind of the idea. Is I want him to be a character that could look really menacing, but is actually more of a gentle it somehow it's invisible, you know. But if you guys can come up with names, then that'd be great. But we're gonna go ahead and go into T-pose, and I'm gonna do something. We're gonna try it, so I'm gonna do something a little different this time around. And I'm gonna do a Z-sphere rig on him instead of my normal posing nightmare that I do, and we'll see if it works. I usually don't do Z-sphere rigs because there's sometimes can be a little harder to manage. I think one thing I might do is bring his arms out, so that way it's easier to not get stuck in here. So I might do that before Z-sphere rigging, but we'll get into it. I'll continue talking about the characters and chat with you guys as we do this. So pretty chill day today. It's just going to be figuring out what kind of pose. I like the pose that I came up with in the initial drawing where he's got like his leg up and he's playing the lute. And we do have a lute. It's just hidden. So I'll have to figure that out. As you can see, the way I work is everything is really, really low res. So that way when we do get into here, there shouldn't be anything that's so high that's going to make it really hard to pose. That's kind of the goal. I think the highest thing is like probably those weird little meshed furry threads. It says, have I been playing Baldur's Gate? This guy's nice threads. Oh yeah, it's little threads. I have not been playing Baldur's Gate. I've actually been busy playing Cyberpunk because the new DLC will drop soon. So I'm trying to finish that one up right now. That's my latest game that I played. And I beat Final Fantasy 16. I'm a little iffy as to whether I like it or not, unfortunately. The story fell kind of short for me in the end. Combat was fun, but oh well. So like I said, I'm going to try on double here just so it's easier to see stuff. And I'm going to raise his arms really quickly. I'm not posing yet. I just want to get his arms a little farther away from his legs. Because in the Z-sphere rig, it kind of treats it like we're going to be actually skinning and binding the mesh. So because of that, it's just easier to lift his arms up a little bit. So I'll do that. I'll lift his arms up just a little bit, you know, shouldn't break anything. Should be totally fine. But I just want some distance between his knees and his hands so that way I don't run into as many skinning issues. That's really all I want to do. Eduardo, hello. Cynthia's saying, speaking of rigging, I've been playing around with Character Creator Post Tools plugin, and it's been great for auto rigging and posing. What plugin is that for? Is that for Blender? Synth also been playing Cyberpunk? Awesome. And you feel the same about Final Fantasy 16? Yeah. Oh, it is for ZBrush. Oh, okay. I'll have to try that out. I didn't know there was a Character Creator Post Tools plugin. Alright. I'll have to give that one a try. Oh, Kaisedo! Hello! Welcome to the chat. Nice to see you. Okay, so I raised his arms up a little bit. As you can see, I've moved his arms and everything else is going to move with it, which again, this is how I normally will pose, but I wanted to try the rigging. Oh, that sounds really cool, Sin. Connects to Character Creator 4. For Reallusion, they have animation and poses you can apply and send back to ZBrush for further tweaking. Ooh, I'm gonna have to try that one. If only you were here last week and told me about it, I would have had it ready to try on this character. Since this is why you need to be here more often. How dare you? Just leave me hanging on cool tools. I'll have to give that one a try, though. I'm definitely going to download that and give it a try for our next character, though. There's no reason not to. That sounds awesome. Okay, so now that I looked these arms up, I'm going to save. Is this what we're saving? No, we're saving in weird areas. Okay, there we go. Save this guy. Failed you? No, you're okay. You're here now. That's all that matters. Alright, so to turn on the Z-Sphere, so making sure that nothing that I don't want to bring over a rig is hidden. So like I said, I do have a loot in here. It's just all the way at the bottom and it's hidden. So anything, again, that is that you don't need, just hide it. And then I'm going to turn on the Z-Sphere rig, and then we're going to go back into T-Pose Mesh. And it's going to kind of look the same, except it's going to pop in for it's going to pop in the little Z-Sphere that I can then start creating a little blind pose. There we go. Cynthia saying, I love that fur. What did you do to use, what did I use for it? So you can go back and watch the other videos if you want to watch the demo of it. But all I did was you grab the snake hook brush and you put this alpha onto it. And then you pull, and as you start pulling, it'll actually kind of generate that kind of look. It's a pretty easy trick. I use it all the time. I'm just pulling out Z-spheres now, and I'm just setting points. I like to set stuff up where I'm, I go from one point to the other, and then I'll add points in between and add the curvature after the fact, because I just think that's easier. Just easier to extend. I'm just trying to put places where I want the joints and stuff to bend. If I want to open his mouth, I'll just do it later. I don't need, there's no way it's going to be helpful to read that way. But I do know I'll need a spot for the ears. I'll pull out for the ears. I don't need this much, to bend the ears. I just want to make sure that the ears are going to skin properly without joining the body. Yes, you have a lot of catching up to do, but it's all good catching up, so that'll be fun. Alright, so I'm going to drag out another one here. Here we go. The shoulder. And then coming off of the shoulder, I can kind of add a point by the skin, so that way hopefully this will move with this. So that way when I go and rotate this, it will rotate together, and I'm hoping that I can get a decent shoulder movement from that. Again, you can drag this all the way down to here, and then just insert a joint. And again, I kind of have to make these little points that are not really for rotation or anything. It is just purely to make sure that like when I raise the arms, this will go closer to this than skin with that kind of thing. And we'll have to test it to see if it's going to work. Just drawing out some hands here. Again, I like to put in the joints after. It's easier to have the starting point and end point. Lee Gibbons is asking, says, quick question. How do you get around the stitching being so many polygons for high-low baking? So for game assets, I'm assuming you mean like the first stitching, right? Because that's probably the highest thing that doesn't have you know, like a low res to it, really. It's just kind of is what it is, right? So it kind of depends on what game you're making. So if you're trying to do a realistic character, if that fur needs to look realistic, you'll probably just go with fur cards. You'll probably just go with hair cards, or you'll just texture it. It'll be in the texture rather than like an actual piece of geometry, depending on how much of the silhouette is really sticking out of the threads. Now, if it's, you know, a low res thing, that's where it might be just all completely hand painted texture. You know, all this stuff would be, instead of sculpted, you could sculpt a little bit of it, but then bake it down, and then you would just paint on top of it. So it actually wouldn't be part of the mesh. But yeah, you could get around low poly stuff by creating hair cards as well. That is an option. But hair and fur, always so tricky to do for games. I'll make sure that, see, when I rotate here, I can rotate the wrist. And there technically is a third joint, but because, no, I'll probably need it. I was gonna say, I don't think I would need it for the pose that I'll do, but I might actually, because I might have his fingers be curling quite a bit, so. But yeah, fur and hair are always really tricky as to how you want to approach it, depending on, you know, what project. And if you're doing it for games, you know, you can do hair cards, or you could do just purely painting it. It all really depends. In this case, I sculpted it with the possible intention of maybe having to print it. So I like showing how to sculpt it. It's also so easy to sculpt it that if you need to change it later, you can, or, you know, do a different method later, you can. But it's just nice to be able to show people how to sculpt some fur. I'm going to do the same thing, just adding some points, so that way, again, the goal is, if I bend this guy, this all bends with it, and I'm hoping that, you know, this will stick closer to the body than trying to like skin over here or do something weird. Synth is asking, for hair cards, does your studio use Fibershop, your GS Curve tools, or do you use your own proprietary software? We didn't have any for a while, but our current production is looking into GS Curve tools. I've never played with Fibershop, but most of the ones that I go to is GS Curve. There's also, Blender seems to have some pretty cool stuff too. So I might, maybe not for work, but I might dabble in that just for fun. I don't think I'll need anything crazy, but I can just, I guess I'll cover my bases here. Here's one of those things that I actively try to avoid in my job. Because it's a lot of work. It always is. It's very rewarding by the end, but man, it's usually just more technical than anything else. It's not a very fun process, I'll say that much. Yeah, Blender's hair tools look pretty intuitive. We have this thing where we get to do some active learning on Fridays. So it's actually one of the things that I want to look into for learning for my current company. Okay, I think I covered all my bases, but we'll have to see. So now that we have this guy, we should be able to go down to rigging and then say bind mesh. And now if I turn up symmetry, I mean, I could still leave symmetry on, but if I go to rotate, I should be able to rotate this stuff up. And you can see that everything is kind of skinning to the rotation. You can see that this isn't exactly following, right? So I might need to add a few more joints to that, but I can test other places and see how moving the stuff away was going to be helpful. So that way it doesn't combine. It's very slow though, but that's okay. Let's raise the arms up, see how that bends. I might try to add, so this is just where I'm trying to learn what's breaking and what's working, right? So I might add another little thing that sticks out here to try to stop that from bending around so much. But other than that, like, I think the folds and stuff that are happening for the legs and stuff are pretty cool. So for the most part, the arm and stuff is moving kind of correctly. Let's try to move the head real fast and see if it attaches to the... So you can see that the collar's moving, right? So if I, let me turn off symmetry. If I turn this, the collar's moving, but the stitches aren't. I should have added the stitches after the fact. That's going to be really annoying. This is partially why I don't use this. Okay, so I have some ideas now. So now I can go, oops. Again, you can just always turn off bind mesh and then go and edit and make sure that you have some stuff that's working for you. So I'm going to add one right here. And try to keep that more down. Again, it's anything that's very close in proximity, it'll try to move, so it's just one of those things that you have to constantly finagle. Ivan, hello, how are you? Welcome to the stream. So again, those that belt was moving quite a bit, so I'm going to try to stop it from moving too much by adding some more points. If this doesn't work, I'll just use Synth's method. Little bin. Okay, so I think try that now. So now I can say bind mesh again, turn it on, And now I can move the head again and see. There you go. See how I don't get as much pulling? Right, so that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid. The stitches are still gonna go haywire, it seems. So I might just try. I'll just do it, and if I have to fix the stitches or something later, I always can. Again, it was pretty easy too because we used curve tools. But I think most of this I could pose and have it not. Yeah, see, that's much better. And now so you can see that the out fur would be a little bit. So I don't want that. But maybe lift this up a little bit more. Again, it's a lot of like adding points to be like, no, I want this to move with this section, and I want this to move with that section. It can get very kind of tedious. Honestly, because it's so low res, exporting it out and bringing it into something like Mixamo probably wouldn't even be that hard, or doing what Synth was saying. Okay, now let's try it. That's better. I know I can pose it, but I'm also just like, oh no. I had a feeling this was going to be a thing, because look at how horribly it moves all the hard work. Look at all that. Remember all that time we spent making these things? Part of me really doesn't want to pose it this way now, but it's just gonna squish so much. See, this stuff is cool. I like being able to move stuff around like this. It's super neat, but at what cost? I think the other thing is kind of dark. I know there's probably a way to turn it off, but I also hate that I can't see my character. I have to look at the sphere ray. Yeah, it's gonna drive me too crazy. I don't think I'm gonna do it this way. I did want to show you guys this just because it is another tool. So if you're doing like something not as complicated as this character, you can see that for like certain things work really well. I just think for the pants, it doesn't work super well. So maybe we'll do this. We'll do like a half and half. I'm not gonna move the pants. I think the arms and the torso might work for it. So let's do that instead. Oh, well, don't go crazy on me. So I think in my pose, I kind of have him looking this way. And we can also, move the ears around a little bit. You can see that they do kind of move the... The control shift that rotates it. I'm actually kind of forgetting And if I want it to twist, I'm trying to remember. I think for the transpose it would be control. So I think I'll have... I'm just looking at my reference. I'm gonna add one. Again, I'm just adding. This should be the nice thing about bind pose though, or Z-spheres, you should be able to pose it, and then if you want to add some more skinning joints and stuff to it, you can go in here and add it. Sorry, my dog's barking at something. And then if you go to bind mesh, it should go back to... Oh no, it doesn't. It's even the point. What is even the point? It should have gone back to the pose. I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna do it. This is too much of a pain. I thought this was gonna be easier. I'm seeing too many of my things that I want to keep move. And I'm like, it's just not worth it. Sometimes I think my method's crazy and then I try another one and I'm like, they're all crazy methods. So I hate to do this to you guys, but I think if he wasn't so complicated, I wouldn't mind doing this, but I could give it a try and confirmed it. I think the stitching and there's just too many little details that are just going to get warped that I'll have to go in and fix after the fact, and I just don't like doing it, so I'm not going to do it. Which is easy enough because we can just go back to our original, and I'm just going to clear it, say bye, and then we're just going to go to traditional T-pose. Nigel's like, well, it's cool, I didn't know you could rig in ZBrush. You can, but as you'll see, I'm actually going to do it a different way now. I think if you're posing stuff that's very simple, I think it's a lot easier. But again, if you're going to rig it, it's just like what Synth said, bring it into something else, you know. Would be the way to go. So my method at first seems crazy, but I feel like I just get way more control. And also I can see it. Like I like being able to see my figure. So I split it off into all these crazy groups that I can basically control, select, and mask at any given time. Even for like the hair, I'll select half of the hair and shrink that. So that will go together as one group, and then the hair and the neck. That could go as one group, and I can go and select things as I need to. And this is where I can grab stitching, right? And this, and this, and this. And the patchwork, stitching. Basically the whole vest. And I can group that. So that I always know I'll be moving and kind of selecting at once. I'll probably be moving the torso and all those things, but it's easy enough now to see. So like this, this, and this. And now I have those three objects in there that I can move. And the other thing too is this. I'm gonna do two things. So I'm gonna merge this, and then I'm gonna merge this, just in case I can move the flap around. So I can select and should be able to kind of move around a little bit. And then I'll select the arm. Okay, so now I have that. Now I can grab the hand. That, yeah, you're not gonna do. Like the gauntlet area here. Quick sentence saying the character creator pose tools workflow. Oh, Michael Pavlovich has one. Awesome. I was just watching his stuff on the new. He has a new proxy pose one for 2023 ZBrush that I was checking out. I don't have 2023 yet on this machine, but I wanted to take a look at it. It seems like the same, stuff. So. Splitting up the arm into different sections. Again, I just make everything collectible. And then like the belt, because it's such a rough and tough belt, I want to make sure that I'm not, warping that a whole lot. Same thing with the legs here. Grab the legs. Oh yeah, that's right. Before doing that, what I like to do is grab the pants. And because of the way I model it, I always model it with that loop in mind. So now I can auto group it, and now I should be able to select this and this. And now I can do leg. Oops, wrong symmetry. So this is just an easier way for me to split up what I'm selecting for the leg. And then I'll mask based on that. So Synth has a question about toes. When you're baking mesh maps, how do you keep the toes from breaking onto each other since they're so close? I usually don't model toes, but I did for a recent project. So you can kind of do the same thing. Well, one, you could build a cage. So you could build a cage. This, obviously, it doesn't have a great example of toes because they're meshed together. Which, again, if you're doing an isometric view of a game and, he's kind of looking like that, maybe you don't really need it. You don't need separate toes. But one thing you can do is do what we do with hands and stuff too, is we just take the hand, if it's, if you modeled it really close together, you can just splay them out, which will give you more space in between. So you can kind of do the same thing with toes. You can kind of splay them out a little bit more than they normally would and have all that detail in there and bake it and then bring it back. And you can do it using a blend shape, so that way you don't have to, it's not like you have to move the mesh and then move it back. Or you can just save your old mesh, right? And then you have a very specific mesh to bake on, and you'll bake it and they'll have the same UVs. So that's another easy way to kind of keep that. So usually my mesh that I'm using for my bake is slightly different from my final T-pose one for those reasons exactly. Something like Marmoset could also bake by material and then combine it. So you could technically have the toes be separate materials so that way they don't bake onto each other. And then combine the mesh down and then combine the normal map later. You could do something like that. So Okay, cool. So see, now I have it all split up into different zones, and then I can select and mask and move the way I need to. So again, my method for this is, I can grab the head, and then if I want to, I want to create like a transition from the neck, I can mask the neck out first, right? And then I can grab the head, mask the head, and now when I move, find the center point, and now when I move this character, you can see it deforms really nicely. So it's just a way for me to create. I don't think this method's all that much more difficult than the rigging method, and I feel like I just have more control over my mesh, and I can zoom out and look at my mesh as a whole and make sure that there's nothing weird deforming or warping. So I'm just looking at some reference to see how I would want the... And if he's playing, I'm thinking about him turning, maybe he's like stretching and turning, so his chest is going to be facing the other way of his. Sometimes it's good to get up and like just pose it out, if you don't have an idea of what the pose is going to be or what it's going to feel like. Since this is with like big strong hands. They are strong hands. I am waiting to see how we will pose him to make him play Elite. I think it was Okay Sato, someone last stream was like, it's gonna be a big ass loot, and I was like, that's probably accurate. So, we'll see. I'm gonna turn his... I like the idea of him being more like hunched, like he's kind of playing in low. I think would be kind of cool. Again, just get like a basic idea first of your model or of the pose, and then you can you can get more crazy with it later if you need to. So I want to try to move his shoulder back a little bit. Because if he's playing the guitar, I feel like this is going to be back a little bit, and then his arm's going to come down, and he's going to be holding Elite. This is just the easier way for me to make deformation without... Now I don't have to worry about the, the armor piece moving or any of that skinning stuff moving. But now I can bend his arm up a lot easier. I can always move this stuff out or give him that more pointed elbow, right? And squish stuff that needs to get squished later. And also because it's all still separate meshes and stuff, it's going to be a lot easier to fix that stuff. Turn his wrist a little bit as well. think I still need, I'll use the mask pen. This is where I can turn on topological as well. Whoops, turn off that curve mode. Oh, mask pen. That way when I move his hand, the wrist can kind of go with it just a little bit. I don't need to do it all the way, and then I can adjust. I can, rotate and move his fuzzy fingers around and stuff later as well. But now I can select this hand again. And again, it's easier for me to probably pose the fingers after, once I find where his loot's gonna be. I have a basic idea now of where it's gonna be. And I might move his hand. Well, I'll position the rest of it first and see how it feels. Since then, by the way, I just realized you changed your day of streaming. I did. It's now on Wednesdays. So welcome to the show. Yeah, there was like a few weeks in a row where I was like, I can't do Tuesday, I can't do Tuesday, I can't do Tuesday. And I was like, we can just switch it to Wednesday. Because there was going to be like 3 weeks in a row where I was like, I can't do it anyway. So then I was like, well, we can just switch it. So here we are now on Wednesdays, much later at night. Which I don't know if I'm hoping that time works for people. 4 to 6 was kind of like a weird time for most people. So I think, this works a little better. And then I think his hand. Seems about where the move can go. Again, it's kind of a guesstimate once I get the loot in there. It's good to just get an idea of what pose you're trying to land for first. To see if at least the gesture or the motion will be good. I might need to move his whole arms swaying more this way or something. It could be something where it's not so much his whole arm swing, but maybe his whole body could move over a bit more. Oh, since it says sometimes you have band practice on Wednesdays, but that's around 9. That's at 9? You do band practice at 9 at night? So that's so late. Well, you do band practice. What do you play? What instrument? Yes. Do you play the lute? Oh, well, I mean, your name is Sid. Does that mean you play piano? I'm sorry, I'm not sure. Keyboard? Is this basically the same thing, or are they slightly different? Keyboard synth. That's cool. That's awesome. I'm sorry I didn't make him play a keyboard. Same thing, really? Okay. I wasn't entirely sure, so. People call me crazy, but I think my life is better. I'm gonna have him. I got his butts in there. I could always push that down later, but still. Sacramento Pop Fest. That sounds cool. If I was in Sacramento, I would say I would check it out. Indie Dream Pop. That sounds so cool. That sounds so fun. Well, if you ever have a place where I can listen to music, you're an artist, I'm an artist, you support me. I love to try to support back. On my reference, he's standing up on like a thing. Oh my god, you guys are on Spotify? Okay, I'm gonna try to look it up. Sweet. I'm so excited. So excited. I need some new music. I mean, our music's going in and out. Maybe we'll just have to play some of yours. You thought that was your computer? No, I keep thinking it's mine too. Apparently it's just the way it is today. You know, it's just Spotify. It's not Spotify. It's just the music being weird. This is your first time tuning in, by the way. Please say hi and welcome. Don't be shy. I like saying hi. As you can see, Simp will talk to me the entire time, and I love that. It's my favorite thing. It gives me someone to bounce ideas off of. So don't be shy and say hi. Casual gumbo, hello! I like the idea of casual gumbo, Because that implies that there's also serious gumbo. Just lurking, I appreciate you. Thank you for lurking. Hope you're enjoying. If it wasn't for the lurkers, there wouldn't be very many people on here probably. So I appreciate you lurking. Oh, there's a dog behind me that's demanding attention. You can hear her, she's part husky, so notice it one. She's like, excuse me, you're not talking about me, so clearly stop what you're doing. Synth is asking if I've seen the One Piece Netflix series yet. Synth, don't make me angry on stream. Don't do this to me. No, and I probably will not watch it. I'm still catching up, so don't say anything for the anime. I'm about 70 episodes behind. I'm almost there. But no, man, who needs to watch that when you've got the real one? When you've got the actual anime, I don't need to watch it. You know? And I'm like, I'm good. I don't need it. I'll stick with my original source material. I'm happy watching. I love animation, so for me, you 100% should watch the original if you've never seen the original. It is fantastic, and it'll be your most favorited thing to talk about all the time. Unfortunately, I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't, but part of me was like, if you come watching One Piece, I will literally talk the entire time about One Piece with you, while sculpting. But unfortunately, it can't be about that, or else everyone would probably run away and be like, no spoilers. But no, it's an amazing anime. 100. I know it's long, but I don't complain about it being long because it's deserved and it's really good. So for me personally, I don't know why so many people were like, it's not worth watching because it's long. And I was like, nope. It's so good. The original is on Netflix, but it's in English, which I highly don't recommend. It's really bad voice acting. Probably the worst voice acting in an anime. You will not like any of the characters if you listen to it in English, I promise you. You gotta listen to it in Japanese, so you gotta watch it on, as much as I don't like Crunchyroll sometimes because their app is terrible. You just gotta watch it on Crunchyroll or somewhere where there's Japanese. Because it's not worth your time to watch it in English. It's really bad. Everybody says the dialogue too. Okay. Well then don't watch in Japanese. Yeah, watch sub, not dub. Not all anime, I would say, is like that. There's tons that are fine watching in English, but man, One Piece for whatever reason just is not the one. We're getting his pose now. And now his head needs to turn much, much more. So I really want to integrate that. Just do that. Yeah, English is just, most of the time, it's just not good. There's only a few that I don't mind watching in English. I don't have a small character, but I'll probably... I don't know, he wants to be playing. He should be playing to someone. Oh, that pop collar is really working for me on that angle. I'm trying. I'm doing this probably the least intelligent way, but that's okay. Oh, wait, no, this is one? Oh, no. I'm gonna try to open up his mail here. Yeah, they make it sound really cheesy, Sim. Casual Gumbo is asking, is the detail on a different layer than topology or something? No, so the detail is, we still have our original pose, which is in a different tool entirely. We're in a thing called T-pose right now, which allows me to basically have everything at its lowest topology. Why are you like this? It allows me to have it at its lowest topology, and I can grab and isolate things and move them around, so that way it's easier to pose, basically. Because now I can grab something like the jaw with that. And that should have been enough. Now I can like slightly open it. Yeah, that worked. Okay, great. So once I'm done posing, then I can take this low res basically, and it'll refigure itself onto the one that has all the detail. That's kind of what I'm doing. It's just because I'm in T-pose. I'll probably have to fix him singing or saying something after the fact. I could probably pose the tail separately as well. There's kind of like a fun thing. I think I've done it before. I think we're getting there. I think his feels a little too. I think I want to pull back his leg a bit more. Whoops, don't scale it. So the detail model will be fully posed once you leave T-pose. That is correct. Yeah, sorry if I said it in a really weird, confusing way. But yeah, the detail one's still over in another tool, and this is just kind of like a, you can think of it as like a proxy, you know? It's just kind of like it takes the lowest subdivision of your model. Now see with this guy, if I wanted to deform it a little bit, I can, but now I can do it with control. It feels like maybe it's a hip raise. Right, and it's squishing. So much easier, you guys, I swear. Why I wasted 30 minutes? I'm like, I'll do something cool, teacher. No point in that. I think as a whole, oops. Just gonna move it more upright. I think he was leaning a little too far forward. No, I can just use the move tool to get his feet kind of correct-ish. And it's okay to use the move tool to, you know, just slightly adjust stuff. I don't use it to make really, really big gestures, but just to get that slight gesture back into, you know, your leg or your hand, or just squish stuff up to make something feel a little more graceful, then that's totally fine. I think that's working. His hand didn't even get grouped. Right, so then once we pose the hands, but I think that'll work, but I need the loop for that. So I think for now, his tail is so low poly that I don't even. Just kind of try to add some gesture to that. Alright. Okay, so now you're going to see the magic happening as we're done. For now that we have this, now we can go up to, we went to T-pose mesh, but now we can go to T-pose sub T. And now it's going to take our character, and it's going to position all those little pieces for us. So you'll see it'll go down the line, and it looks really terrifying at first. But you can see everything starts to snap into place. And you see how nice micropoly is too, because although that rope detail and stuff, we don't have to move individual mesh, we're just moving a really simple mesh, and then, you know, all that stuff follows. Cool. And then now I can fix the thumbs and stuff. For some reason I was like, where did his teeth go? And now I can adjust certain things, you know, with ease. And I can move things individually as I need to. You know, for a character's face, I can now add, you know, some more gesture. I can also move the eyeballs. Yeah, I can move one. It's gonna look really weird for a second. Try to give him a maybe softer expression. It's just constantly in my way. Get out of my way, then. They're very focused. Someone said super cool. Super cool, right? I know. Yeah, I think that expression's working. Now we gotta give him his loot. Which is down here. It's probably pretty tiny. Right now. We could go into T-pose if we wanted to, but we can actually just have our model, and then turn this on, and then oops. I'm hitting Control-Shift to select the parts that I want to move. So it's just these three parts. Everything else should be like line, you know. There you go. Casual Gumbo was asking, is this a personal work or for a client? This is for you guys. This is all for the stream. This doesn't go anywhere else except for the stream. Yeah, this is just for fun. This is just... You see? Now we know his hand needs to go up a bit more. I'm actually pretty happy with how well that plays in there, though. Yay! I have visual memory sometimes. Lean it forward maybe a little bit. So his arm needs to come up, but other than that, pretty good. Look at it, he's got all this whole loot. So excited. Oh my god. I should have done a pose where he's like rocking out on the loot. Next time. Tune in next time for that one. Okay, so he was saying, by the way, I think it's time for a quick save. You're correct. You're not wrong. Thank you, Cassie. Deep. Oh, I'm sorry. Synth, I did not see your question. Let me roll down. For junior artists who do a lot of hard surface modeling, would you recommend they use the box modeling method or use ZBrush? ZBrush and knife clip curves, or a combination. So, I mean, you've seen, I always talk to my students about this, how hard surface modeling, I kind of treat everything like it's hard surface unless it's basically a body, right? So I think that's the biggest thing is I do all my modeling within ZBrush, and a lot of ZBrush's tools are just, you know, using the box modeling method. But you can choose whatever program you want. I think HardOps is actually really great to learn, you know, which is in Blender. But it totally is up to you and what you're comfortable with. I personally like working from geometry that, you know, it's kind of more like this, where it's, I like working super, super low res. Everything on here, you can see how low res, you know, everything is. I could easily just take this character as is and rig it and probably wouldn't get that much issue. I didn't really set it up for that because it's, you know, split up in different parts, and this is more for ZBrush, just specifically, but you can see how quickly I can easily get something. Yeah, for modeling, I think it's good to learn a little bit of everything, you know? But I do a lot of just low poly modeling. Just good old box modeling. The clip curves and like that type of stuff is good for, you know, concepting. You know, you don't want to spend all this time low poly modeling something and being like, I don't know if this is gonna work or not, right? Or if you don't like the design, it's a great way to, make sure that your design is flowing and looking good. Other than that, you don't need anything crazy. Oh, I see you, Fred. Just posing. I'll probably have his thumb. I have his thumb maybe push up against the loot, so I'll move the loot a little bit now, but now it's here. That sits pretty comfortably. So now that I have the loot more positioned in a good place, now I can go back and pose it for these. So again, I'll T-pose it again. Now that I move if his hand go back and forth, now it looks like he's ripping. So we'll go ahead and wait for that. Move slightly. There's a lot of little subtools to go through. There's 48, which is actually not as many as it. Actually, it looks like there's more than 48 tools in here, but there's not. Cool. Almost did get it first try on that one. Just had to move it a little bit. But now it's a lot easier to move all the other things. And see, with stuff like this now, if I need to move both, that doesn't, I don't think it's anymore. Yes, if I have that and I lost it. There it goes. I can just merge these down because they don't have any subdivisions yet. So most of my stuff doesn't have subdivisions yet, so that I can go in and, you know, tweak these things after the fact. And this is more of a strictly a method for, you know, what I'm doing on stream, which is sculpting and then posing something, and then working around that, you know. I keep that up. I grab this guy. Is there a dog right here? Yes, hello. This is my puppy. Always wants attention. And I can move, you know, this stuff around. You know, I can pull that down. I think I forgot to make this piping part of the jacket, which honestly, I don't even think I need it. Did I need it? Oh, I did need it. Where'd it go? Turn back on. I can just move it. It's fine. But it's just these little things that I can just move after the fact. Because again, everything's so low. The whole point is that this is super low res. And then I can, you know, add high res. Like I said, even these guys, the rope looks complicated, but it's just poly mesh, right? And for rendering, I don't even need to change that. But alright, so if he's strumming away, we can probably curl his fingers in. I'll probably work on this one first, but the first things first is I'm going to auto group it so that way, because I always make the mistake where I start, you know, masking and then I start moving this guy along with it, and you don't want that. So, good way to combat that, these two, just auto group it. Since asking at the studio that I work at, are your games all creatures and aliens, or do you also do other genres? Currently, our only game that was released that people are aware of is an aliens game, and that's all I've currently worked on. I cannot say more as to what else I'm working on. But my main job usually is to sculpt all the creepy stuff. That's usually my job. Which is why on this stream, I usually do kind of the opposite. Although if you guys want me to sculpt scary stuff, I can, but... I'm just making this feel like it's pushing. Right, so he's kind of holding it and just pushing up against it. That's like, I think that's how I usually hold the guitar, because I can't wrap my thumb. Some people hold the guitar where they have their thumb all the way up at the top, and I'm like, my hands are too small for that, so I have to push against the back of it. I guess the problem if your hands are too small, or if your hands are too big. I just remembered his claws are somewhere, but that's okay. I'll fix them. Oops, broke my that would reset all the brushes. Since it's asking, do I have any of my stuff posted on ArtStation or Instagram? I don't. They are on my website. I think some of them are, of the pathogen release that I worked on. My website's just stegoneggs.com, so it's pretty easy to find. Ooh, I like the idea that he just uses his nail, so it'll be like super fun. Hands are always in the butt. I can listen to music and just kind of do the thing. It goes by pretty quickly. Thank you, Secret Gnomon Ninja. Since says those are some cool looking aliens. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so for my normal job, it's usually often a lot of scary stuff. But I really have a passion more for the stylized. So I like on this stream being able to kind of just do something different for people here, and that gives me an opportunity to be creative in a different way. I'm just gonna try to finagle the pinky because I'm like tired of focusing. Just gonna curl it. Nothing the old inflate can't fix. Sort of. Look at that, you can actually play this loop. Gotta fix some palm geometry hand issue there. And there's just poor claws. I can just auto group it, and again I'll move them back into place. So excited with his hand, actually. I didn't have to change it to get it to fit. I was really wanted it to make sure that. Kind of forgot that he could play with his claws, so I think that tended to work out. There we go, there's one hand, kind of. I got a little funky. And again, anything that is like too soft or like blubby, you know, to make sure that there's really a knuckle there is just gonna get, you know, we can just sculpt and kind of move stuff around and make sure that we're getting the feeling of 4 joints kind of, you know, melding and pinching. Since I want to model one of your 2D character concepts, go for it. Sorry, I was so busy trying to pose the hand I was not watching the chat. Yeah, tomorrow we're had some really cool character design or creature design stuff. I like their stuff a lot. I think it was and Bartholomew that did some of the designs. That guy's awesome. So I'm gonna try to. So for him to play, he's just playing with his thumb, and usually when you play, you kind of like relax your hands. So I'm gonna just kind of try to curl all his hands at once. But for work, we render in Unreal, so that's an Unreal Engine. That's what that is rendered in. We just messed up the pinky all sorts of places today. If you do see my work and you guys want to, you know, do a 3D render of it, I'd be more than happy to see that. That sounds super cool. I do, you know, take a lot of my 2D concepts and try to also realize them in 3D, but I usually draw too much to do all of them, so if anybody wants to help me out on that. And then for the thumb, I'm just going to change directionality on it. Make it feel like it's pushing. And we'll rotate a little bit. And then go in and fix the claws again. It does not have to be perfect in this case, because you barely see it. Oh, the three-eyed tiger. I actually did do. So what's funny is that three-eyed tiger initially did start out as a block out for in 3D, and then I just painted on top. But it was just like a really quick little sculpt demo thing that I was doing, and I was like, oh, it's kind of fun, but I didn't feel like sculpting it, so then I just drew it. Chatbot, get that thing out of here. Feel bunches thinking off first. There we go. Cool. And I will save. I remembered. So now I'm gonna put in just some little like set dressing kind of thing. I'm gonna put in a cubist set dressing. I should just find something that's cooler than that. Hold on one second. Let me open up this little bridge. Give my shoulder a break as well. Where'd the bridge go? Oh, it was hiding behind my reference. Because that's... I always have that disabled. Let's see. 3D assets. Ooh, let's see if we can find something historical. Wild West. Ooh. Bucket or barrel? I think a barrel could be cool. Let's do that. Oh, since did I watch the D&D movie with Chris Pine? I actually have not watched that. Not that I wouldn't mind watching it. I've just been busy watching other things, I guess. I'll have to throw it on at some point, though. It looked kind of fun. Okay. Import this guy. And it's huge. And these have textures on these, so I can import the texture too. No, they're always flipped. It's always a thing. Why do you do this to me? This is a good thing to note, because we don't really talk about textures in here, but if you bring in a texture by default, it'll come in correct, but for some reason you have to flip it on the V, and now it's accurate. I don't know why. I don't know why ZBrush hates me, but it does. I never got why it slipped either. It's very strange. His foot touched the ground. And then I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sculpt it fast enough, but let's try it. I'm gonna do something really fast. Just like a placeholder for something fun. Why does... I'm being very quiet, but I'm focusing here. Try to see it pretty quickly. Make something that you can interact with. Since it's saying I think sometime in the future it'd be cool to see you sculpt a highly detailed alien creature, just to see what that workflow is. Yeah, I mean, even next month, maybe I can just do aliens. That's totally fine. Aliens and doing, detailed stuff is super fun. So maybe we could do like a cool alien creature. It'd be different enough from what we've been doing, so I think that would be fun. Whoops. That finds eyesight here. Do something fun. It's just more of like a scene piece, trying to see if I can get brings like a sense of scale. Yeah. Let's see. Just trying to see if there's one last thing that I could add, like some ground. Cobblestone. That's what I want cobblestone. They don't have any. Oh, that's such a cool prop. Sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole now, but this is a cool prop. I'm just trying to find some ground that could be interesting. To kind of like bring in and like play with, but all their ground stuff is like sort of thing. But I did find something that's kind of cool, so we'll see if it downloads in time. Don't know though. But I found some. There's like some cool wooden barrels, but I found a little campfire. It could be kind of cool. Synth is asking, he says I was using Quixel Bridge. Yes. I was using Bridge to download the, some barrels and stuff like that. I was saying these barrels are heavy. They are heavy. It'd be a big barrel. But yeah, I'm using Quixel Bridge real quickly to just go to the file and copy it, and then I can go and import in stuff. It's a cool way to just like quickly build scenes. So we'll import in, and then I can grab it, insert that here. And it's ginormous because it's right, but I can do something like that, and then again grab the texture. And then flip it, and then throw it on there. Right, then you got some like cool ground and stuff, which is kind of fun. And then it would be even more adorable if he was actually just sitting. Maybe there's like a bunch of them that would be sitting around the campfire. But yeah, there you go. Now we've got our little card scene of our big scary orc character playing to a little kid. And that's pretty much all the time I have left. So, yeah, I think we'll just kind of wrap it up here. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this character. I think maybe next it's coming off to bed night. Oh no, hello and goodbye. But yeah, I think this guy was really fun to do. I had a lot of fun with him. Maybe I'll try to print a part of him or something. Who knows? I always say that and then I run out of time. But who knows? We'll see. I might print some of my other ones. But maybe next month, like Synth was saying, maybe we could do a cool creepy alien or something like that and do some alien drawings and figure out some fun stuff. But yeah, if that sounds exciting for you guys, go ahead and tune in next week and we'll start the process all again. We'll be drawing something and coming up with some fun characters and creatures. But I had fun with this one, so I hope you did too. And yeah, so that guy's a wrap. So again, thank you for tuning in. See you next week. I'm your host, Ashley. This is Archetype. If you guys are new here, keep joining in and having fun and keep talking in the chat. I always really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys next time. Bye.